Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Good evening, good afternoon with Amber Haq on Mindful Talk with Channel 52. Today, our first episode has started with women roles in community development. And this is extremely, extremely dear to my heart because you guys know that I am very involved with the community. And I have a beautiful panel with me today, beautiful friends, which are going to be joining with me. So thank you, ladies, for joining on your Saturday busy evening, making time for me at this time. I know you all are very, very extremely busy at summertime, taking this time with me on just relax, cup of tea. We will just have fun and, have a halki pulki baatcheet, not too serious, because I know you have very busy lives and busy, strong work ethics with everything. So I'm stealing you away for 50 minutes with me to relax and talk a little important stuff. So thank you all.
We're honored to be
Thank you for having us.
So I'm going to go ahead and get started with Nusrat Sohail. Nusrat is a very dear friend, and she's a vice president of Woman to Woman Forum, and she has a beautiful, busy bio that I cannot do justice if I would start explaining. So please, Nusrat, tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I'm basically an educationist. This is how I define myself. But then with time and with experiences, I worked in the community. I developed some educational summer programs with which I automatically came in the community development work. So the main title that I go with is community developer and educationist. And then I have multiple lives. I say I work as a language educator. I work as a middle and high school administrator. I work as a women empowerment advocate, rather. And then and I'm a social media junkie. Somewhat has inclination towards politics too. So I'm an all-rounder, except the field of sciences.
Thank you for joining. And actually, you've been very humble. All rounders se bhi zyada ho, and I don't know how you do all those stuff. You're a person that I look up to follow, actually.
Honored and humbled.
And next person we have is Sarwat Malik-Hassan, and Sarwat is actually bahut pyari si, and how can I explain about you? Each time I look at you, I feel so proud that hamari bachiyan, hamari ladkiyan are coming forward, and I'm saying this on screen that I'm extremely proud of you for what you do in your life and how you are representing women, and not only the part that you are doing is extremely important because we need representation of our community in political background. So Sarwat is an executive director of Women to Women Forum and community organizer and an activist on many different levels. And please explain, because we were talking about off-screen stuff, that the amazing things that you are doing and you're busy in.
Thank you for having us, Amber. Assalamu alaikum. I'm actually very humbled. Words were extremely gracious and overspoken by my standards. So I am on Women to Women's team with Nusrat as an executive director. Besides that, politics is my passion, and I think because it links to implementing policies that help advance human justice, racial justice, social justice. So that's what I spent my day job, basically my day job doing, being an organizer, a grassroots organizer, because I feel like institutions can't represent the voices of individuals, and it's important for us as individuals to be involved, especially us women of color, with minority women, immigrant women. We can't be spoken for anymore, and we must lead. We must have our voices from our mouth to the ears of, to everyone that's listening. We can no longer be represented by others. So I felt the need to speak up. And I also felt the obligation to do this because our children who are looking for a better and just future, they're going to look at their moms, or what leadership role did you have in the time history is being made right now. We're at the crux of changing the way the norms of the world, and we need to be a part of it. We no longer are first generation; we're second generation, migrants, and we're stabilized. We're not just making ends meet; we're making our place in society. So that's what I do. Besides that, I'm a wife, a daughter, mother of 2 kids, and about it.
All those fun stuff.
Yeah.
So last not but least, our the third guest that we have is Sabina Mahmood. It's also an executive director for Women Farm, and a pharmacy research analyst by profession. And Sabina has compassion towards media as well, and she has done phenomenal jobs behind the screen. A couple of them that I could name on the last year in summer that you did the high end fashion show, and then you did a great job on it. So thank you, Sabina. And please, let us know from you what I have missed. So please go ahead and share your intro with us.
Sure. Again, thank you so much for having me on this. Thank you so much. I am a pharmacy research analyst. Of course, that's my day job. But apart from that, I do a lot of, again, I did step into media, like you said, in past 2.5 years, I've been building myself upon that. Along with that, I've been working with a lot of community projects. I think these community projects that involve media, such as you mentioned, that fashion show. We also had a mushaira that I was a big part of. And our woman to woman events, of course, that's one of these major platforms where we get to recognize some of the community leaders. And I think all these things matter because you build yourself. And while building yourself, you go ahead and give other people that platform to build along with you. With these community events, and along with these community events, I've been going to a lot of the Pakistani, especially with the Pakistani community. I've been involved with a lot of the organizations, volunteering with them, understanding them, learning the logistics, learning how they function. And that's where I met Nusrat Sohail through one of these volunteer projects that I was a part of. And I was helping another woman. I think that this is the time where we need to go ahead and take that step and help other women. If there's a woman, if somebody who's building her career, especially me, I think I'm youngest on this platform now, where I'm, early 30s, we're all building our base at this point. We've had that job. Now we're following our passion, whether that's media, whether that's politics, whether that's education. I feel that you should never stop building yourself. That's why I'm taking this Urdu class, how Nusrat is teaching this Urdu class, and I'm a big part of it. I think it's a self-development thing. It's something that I lacked in, and it's helping me weekly. Along with that, I feel that these platforms that we have, that you do, Amber, or Sarwat has, or I work with Nusrat, that we have, these are very important for these women who are starting up their stores, their whether it's a beauty shop or it's a clothing line. We're able to, on a weekly basis, support them or support their business, and these platforms are very much needed, Amber, to promote us and promote them as well. I feel that I'm a community connector. People come out and ask for some kind of help in any way. And that's what we do. We connect communities.
Thank you. And I personally thank you for that. And I have seen you how, this is the thing that we have to recognize in our younger generation. Mashallah, they can pick things like this, where it would take us to put things, in a little bit, and you guys can pick it up and, take it and make it a notch out of that. So let's relax, have your cup of tea. I know we talk always about serious stuff, so I want to take you back in your childhood. So Sarwat, what is the first memory you have? बचपन का क्या याद है जो सबसे प्यारी याद आपको याद आती हो? You're unmute. Okay.
So that's what we have. Go ahead. What we just went through. That's all I've been doing actually is memory lane for some reason. So just to give perspective to what the question is and the answer would be. So we just lost our father to COVID in the past couple of months, and it seems like I can't remember much of the recent memories with him, but I remember a lot of my childhood. And one of my most, I guess, precious memories are of me. I was in Pakistan until I was 4 years old, so they're not so clear, but my memories of Pakistan and going to school there and being in my dad's school, and like going to my pre-K class there, and just those memories are probably my most precious memories of, like, with the parents and siblings. So, and it's just been very clear in my head these past couple of months. Like बारिश हो रही है तो हम लोग कुश्ती बना के वो नदी की तरफ चलाना, और 14 अगस्त पे झंडे लगाना. हालांकि like I was really young, but um, that's what's right now. That's like so clear in my mind.
I'm actually, Sarwat, very sorry, for your loss. एक parent को गवाना दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा loss है, और उसकी कोई compensation नहीं है. I lost my mom 6 years ago, so I can feel it, and may Allah उनको जन्नत अल फिरदौस में जगह दे. And especially as you're going through this, may Allah give you more sabr and himmat. लेकिन मेरी भी सबसे पहली जो memory है वो मेरे father के साथ है. My dad used to work nights. Both of my parents were from medical department, and my dad used to work nights, and mom इसी तरह से they used to compensate. And I remember very well, he used to come in the morning, और वो जब वो कुंडी खुलती थी उसकी जो आवाज होती थी, I used to know that he's gonna come in, and he used to give me a warm glass of milk. और मुझे अभी भी याद आता है, I can taste it, I can smell it, इतनी clear है वो मेरी memory में वो चीज सबसे पहली getting from my dad. So Nusrat, I know we lost you, but we're back, and and we can hear you and see you better. So question ये था कि मैं आपको we talk almost about serious stuff, we are relaxing today, तो मैं आपको वापस लेके जाना चाहती हूँ आपकी जो बचपन की सबसे पहली memory जो आपके ज़हन में है. So what do you remember?
People often say that you don't remember when you are 2 years old, right? But my memory is from that time when my mom was away. My sister is almost 2 years younger than me, like less than 2 years. So I remembered that time when she wasn't there at home, and I was left with my mom's cousin for a few days. So and then going to see my mom was like sort of like a delight in the evening. So I remember that. Not remembering my little sister, but looking at my mom, that I finally, have seen her after a whole day. So people say that, that's too young, you are just reminiscing it because people have spoken about that. But I definitely remember it like a dream.
अच्छा, बस ये बड़ी की बात है अगर आपको ये याद है कि your mom left and then there was a baby with her,
So just going there and seeing her face is my first memory.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't remember anything else.
उसके बाद you don't remember you're sharing your mom with your sister for the rest of your life.
I think before, the main thing is, for a young kid, for a young 2 years old, leaving a mom is a shock. So I think it was a shock that maybe I remember, and then seeing her after that shock is what has made me remember her.
Okay. Okay, Sabina, your turn.
So I think it was a shock.
Okay, Sabina, you're mute.
So my oldest memory, actually, I posted on it a few days ago too. I'm usually posting my memories from Facebook too often, and I realize I'm still like the same person because I have the same thoughts still. I used to put a lot of quotes back then, so I'm always posting them on my WhatsApp sometimes. But other than that, I do remember my oldest memory is probably like a trip to Pakistan. I was like 2 years old, but I remember because I remember telling. I used to tell मेरी पुप्पू है ना, वहाँ पे मैं उनको कहती थी कि पुप्पू मुझे नहीं उठाओ आप टूट जाओगी, and because they used to be like this really thin, puppos. So this is one story I share with them often कि मुझे वो याद है. और मुझे ये भी याद है कि मैं मियाँ जी जो मेरे दादा बू के फादर हैं उनके जनाजे पे मैं थी वहाँ पे and I remember everybody was like crying and I'm like अम्मी सब क्यों रो रहे हैं and I was like this little kid and next day I knew कि एक function भी था. So I remember like those tidbits. I think that would be like my oldest memory that I remember from like way back from like when I went on a trip to Pakistan.
And you were 2 then, right?
Ji?
You were 2.
Two. Yeah, at that time.
So there's a commonality between us.
There's a commonality, yes. You, Sarwat, do you remember how old were you?
You know, I must have been like 3, 4. Like, I think वही होता है कि like you hear things which trigger your mind to try to remember what happened, right? And I think that's what happened because like people say कि सुना था, but I'm like आपने ये तो नहीं सुना होगा ना कि मैंने कश्ती कैसे बनाई थी, पानी किस तरफ बह रहा था, कौन बैठा था. Nobody remembered, but I remember.
Right.
And, so those incidents are very like I remember my dad traveling to Iraq when I was very like maybe 1-2 साल की, but मैं गाना गाती थी जो कि शायद ads में आता था or something like that. बड़े तक मुझे वो गाना याद था और किस तरह से, you know. So I think Nusrat's right that you do have some. It's there. It needs to be kind of like triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I remember because I got one of my ears pierced at that time, and I cried so much that I never got the other ear pierced. And that was the first time my sister got her ear pierced. My sister's 4 years older than me. So she got her first ear piercing. मैंने एक ही कराया था and I started crying. So I think that's like one of my memories from like the bazaar at that time.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm just gonna take some comments. A lot of people have joined us. You know, Ali's here. He's saying excellent. Farida Haq is saying excellent, ladies. Shuaib Aziz, thank you from Saudi Arabia. Mirza Beg, assalamu alaikum. केफ हालकुम. एक्चुअली ये जो हमारे मिर्जा बेग साहब हैं, ये पिछले हमारे मेरा लास्ट शो था, ही जॉइंड अस एंड ही वाज स्पीकिंग पहले इन अरबिक फिर इंग्लिश में, और इन्होंने एक्चुअली अपना रिश्ता भी दिया हम लोगों को ऑनलाइन. इट वाज अ वेरी फनी थिंग. तो वो दोबारा अरबिक में बात कर रहे हैं. केफ हालकुम, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हम लोग ठीक ठाक हैं. केफ हालकुम अंतुम. So I'm responding him. Farida saying we should speak in English because we all understand better. Definitely, we will be speaking in English and Urdu because, you know, this is a Urdu and English show as well. So I just, you know, I will keep in mind, you know, your request. And ये साहब दोबारा पूछ रहे हैं कि main anthem कि आप लोग कहाँ से हैं. It was the same question from my previous panelist. So कितनी मजे की बात है. पिछली दफा भी इनके यही क्वेश्चन थे. Sarwat, Malik-Hassan, Sarah. So many people are watching and saying hi to this. So the next question that I want to go ahead is हम लोगों ने, you know, we spoke about the first memory. I do want to go and talk about, you know, first trauma, if you guys remember, and also if you want to share it, you know. What was the first trauma or, you know, memory that, you know, disturbing a little bit?
Mine is decent. You want me to go?
Go ahead, please.
I remember having pneumonia way back when I was 7, 8 years old, and I was in the hospital for about a week or so. I remember that. I remember I had really bad asthma at one point, and my mom, thank you, Mom. I remember her taking me to the hospital every week to get those shots at that time. Asthma shots. So those are like my two major things that I just remember from the past.
Okay. Mine is 71's war. And my nanny used to take me underneath the table. And it was again very vague, very dream-like. You know, just twilight थी वो दिमाग में. My nanny used to say, oh, the planes are coming. Indian planes are coming. So that is, I don't want to call it trauma, but something that I was not comfortable with. And then my trauma, real trauma, was from my 7-year-old when I was trying to climb a tree and fell down from there. It was my first time and I fell down on a paved sidewalk. It was a home-based sidewalk. And I fell down, and now I think about it, I could have had a concussion, and I did not tell anyone. but the shock of hitting the pavement, I still can, remember it. That was very hurtful. I sat down, I cried and cried and cried, and then I said, I need to climb the tree now. And then I climbed the tree.
So you didn't tell anyone?
I think I was 8 at the time.
Not percy bata.
Now I'm telling the world.
Now you're telling the world, so you might had a traumatic effect. You're right, but you're such a strong, well-powered person. सारी उम्र से आप वो trauma लेके you're managing it in an awesome way.
Right. But you know what? The traditions of the time were such that if I would have gone to my mom and dad and would have shared this, अगर उनसे कहती कि मैं गिर गई और मुझे चोट लग गई, तो उनसे एक और थप्पड़ पड़ता पहले कि क्यों चढ़ी थी.
Another trauma on top of trauma.
I can relate to that because I used to ride my bike and do roller skating and all that, and I have bruises all over the place all the time because I used to go on top of the hills and just dive down the hills and go on full speed, thinking I'm Superwoman. So I have a lot of those. I still have the scars.
Yeah, Nusrat, you just have reminded me because when we got married, I saw stabbing signs, marks on my husband. So I asked him what happened. यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? Because he was the first Bangladeshi family in New Jersey, in Patterson, the area where they were, and he had to get in fights because saving his brothers many a times doing stuff, and he said that. झगड़ा होता था, fight होती थी. I had to do that because I don't want to be the coward one. You have to fight. You have to, because if you're not gonna fight, they're gonna beat you again. But then he used to come home and tell mom and dad used to get another beat up, and from Mahmood also कि क्यों तुमने लड़ाई की, क्यों तुम झगड़े में पड़े. So you're absolutely right. I can understand.
Then I remember I grew older and I was like about 17, 18, and I was engaged at that time. I was almost getting married. So my siblings got a bike and I had not ridden a bike until then. So I tried to ride their bike and I used to fall so much. So my mother used to say that, no, you cannot do it. I cannot give a broken dulhan to dula wala. You will be a broken dulhan. You can't do it. So I was not allowed to ride the bike.
तो यहाँ पे फिक्र जो है वो दुल्हन के टूटने की है, बेटी के चोट लगने की नहीं.
दुल्हन की. Exactly.
Awesome. This is the cultural beauties that we have. Sarwat, you go ahead.
So I think my first trauma, and to add to what Nusrat, like you never went and told चोट लग गई, because आप जब जितनी उम्र होती जाती है तो आप अपने अब्बा अम्मा की तरह बन जाते हैं, right? So now when I see my son climbing the tree, you reminded me this of Nusrat. I just shame myself a little. I'm like, अगर तुम गिरे ना बेटा तो जहाँ गिरे उसके दूसरे पैर पे जरूर मार पड़ेगी, because I've told you कि tree पे नहीं climb करो. But anyways, I think my trauma, besides my falls and all that, I think my biggest trauma was coming to America, and a lot of my family knows that how much it affected me. So when I was in Pakistan, I used to live in a 3-story multi-family home. It was my dada's home, and my khala's house was very close. So in a day, I was the first grandchild, and I was around like all these people, right? Like Puppiyan, Chacha, Khala, Mamu, cousins, big good, good. And then when we came here, this is 1986, there was just no one. Remotely अगर कोई आंटी साड़ी में भी नजर आ जाती थी तो हम लोग like उनके पास ऐसे लपकते जाके कि कोई तो मिला, कोई नजर आया. I was very depressed to the point where I used to write in those blue aerograms. I used to write a khat every day to my dada, dadi, nani, and my khala कि यहाँ बहुत खराब लगता है. And Ammi was telling me that you used to get very anxious, you used to cry, and this continued for a couple of years. It was very traumatic. And I remember it being like a winter month. It came on, I can never forget, February 17th, 1986. Um, so during that time, I just get very down. And abita, like it's been a long time, but abita wo uska effect hai. So I felt like that. I do feel very strongly that that was my first trauma. Um, I think taking people out of someone's life is, you
It
know,
is. It is. So the reason I ask this question is, I'm trying to build that platform that, you guys believe in women and community development relationship jo hai, कि why is it important for women to get involved in community? And, you guys have been doing this for many years. It's like विदाउट नोइंग ये कुछ चीज़ें होती हैं जो इंसान की जिबिलत में होती हैं, certain characteristics which are there without knowing that, you guys have a phenomenal memory of your childhood. I'm studying, with Montclair State, early childhood and traumatic history. So this is the first thing that we ask about, कि कितना पीछे तक आप लोग अपनी memory याद कर सकते हैं, beauty and traumatic, whichever one, and you guys can relate it. Exactly, smell and explanation of it is that you actually can relive that moment again. That is a significant sign of a leader, not only just leading by saying it, by performing it and by doing it. So ये एक common चीज़ आप तीनों में, and the other thing is that little चोट लगी, गिर गए, but we're not gonna cry about it. We're gonna go ahead and move on, जैसे Nusrat and Sabina and Sarwat. And this characteristic is built in you from childhood. So within this मेरे हमारे 5-10 मिनट की conversation में, it has been proven that you guys are built leaders. So वो चीज़ जो थी बचपन में से, from your childhood, it has given as a God gift to all three of you that we're gonna do it. Even if people follow or don't, we are building it. So my next question ये है कि why is it so important for us to do that, to build a community or bring that as a woman, leader or community in Cha, bringing women, especially among us as South Asian women. I'm going to go ahead with you, Nusrat, first.
Okay, because of the person who has taught history and has been keeping history, very close to my heart, I believe that societies which have evolved are the ones where women took the lead in social reform movement. Like I believe in Romance period of Europe, it's women who used to lead small discussion sessions within their household. After reading the books, they used to discuss things. And this is where the intellectual revolution started to happen. And then that transitioned into the Renaissance, and then afterwards, I believe it's always women who takes the lead. It could be within their own household too. A small social reform movement happens within the household. It's the mother, it's the sister, who looks after and becomes the glue of their own household. And then you also see within your family, because we are from East, where extended family system is a very important family system. So it's us who connect the families together. So now when we are here in a pluralistic society where segmented communities are there, and we are seeing within the pluralistic society, different communities have different evolutionary patterns. So I believe wherever women are more engaged, over there you see those communities to be more thriving for their next generation and also for themselves. They are more engaged in the larger society, and it's the woman that brings them wherever they are needed to be brought.
Mm-hmm.
Men often take the mic and the leadership, and then they have their own role. I'm not denying their role, but I'm just saying that half of us, like out of men and women, if one gender just stays home and then cooks biryani every day. I'm not saying there's no importance of cooking biryani every day, but there has to be a balance to be kept. While cooking biryani, we can lead these intellectual movements and take them in whichever our personal passion is to take our community ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Sarwat.
So I just wanted to ask you one more time. The question was, how does history impact women, or how is history
I
related to women? Or I was very. Can you repeat the question?
So why is it important, right? Am I
Yes,
correct?
yes, in
Why is it
general.
important for women to involve in community development?
Yeah.
No, so was that the question right now? Because you referred back to memories and history. So I'll answer it the way I understand. I think that women, so our society or history or future events are being shaped by experiences, right? Everyone, you make an assumption from the given circumstance. So historically, women have been left out of that conversation. So we were confined to, say, making biryani, right? But we're saying going forward, we're not going to be confined to making biryani. We are efficient enough to make biryani and make quality at the same time, right? And there's no shame in making biryani, right? Because I love biryani. And I like to think that women are extremely efficient in multitasking, and we're just that powerful. But the example that we've been giving around, especially around policy, is that so like 9 to 5 workday, when you're trying to change the narrative of why that is inherently profiling against women, it's because if you're trying to put your child on the bus at 8 o'clock in the morning, you cannot be at work. When you cannot be at work and when you're asking for flexible work schedule, you're being left out of the progress that's now happening in the workplace, the competition, right? So
Right.
we're now asking that women be included, we're not asking, we're demanding that women be at the table when we're shaping the way we go into the future. And that's why historical context is so important, because हम लोग हमेशा इधर नहीं थे. हम लोग हमेशा backstage, like very, very relevant to our little setting here. We were always backstage. So now हम कह रहे हैं कि हमें आगे आना है, the experience share करना है, or that's how we're going to go forward. So that's what I feel. That's why our role is so important, because everything in society, if someone actually commented, if we're 60% and you're thinking to govern us, we better be included.
Yes, absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Sabina.
I'm going to start by saying this famous line, कहते हैं ना, behind every successful man, there's a successful woman, or a woman at least behind. I'm going to start with, because I see both in my society, coming from my mom, who's a businesswoman first. Then she's a housewife. Then she's everything else. She's been working her whole life. Till date, she's working. I've seen her balance it all. I think that the fact, coming from this strong side of this household, I feel that women should be able to take care of both the workplace and their homes. I don't see why there's a balance. You need to find that kind of a husband or that kind of partner who understands that everything requires balance. Whether she wants to even take part of community things that she takes afterwards, all that demands a supporting partner. Which in today's society, it is a competition. I'm going to say that a lot of men take their partners as competition. Oh, if she's done this, I'm going to do this. It's not a competition. They need to understand that it's a stand-by-stand thing. If one is leading the other, it's to progress. It's for both to progress. If one is progressing more than the other needs to understand that progression is progression. If they're one unit, any progression is progression.
Yeah.
And actually, I will second that, actually, Sabina. If you would see in the community, there are certain couples you can see who are piggybacking on each other, and they are the sign of progress for each other. And as Sarwat said, that you don't have to be at workplace for progress. We're not talking about the career progress. We're talking about the personal progress, the inner professionalism that we are talking. And like what you are doing here, we are on the weekends, we are all sitting from our own homes, and we are having these kind of conversations. Leading discussion groups is also part of the progress. And that's what we are doing right now. So this is something that has started. We have seen that in our community, especially during lockdown. We have seen this immensely. So I'm really thrilled for our community that this kind of dialogue has started to happen. However, I think there's more needed, and we need to, as Sabina said and Sarwat said, that we need to just find that balance between this and where we are needed the most, maybe at home when the kids are younger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I do want to piggyback on that just for like 10 seconds. Is that for too long, women, especially in our community, we have piggybacked on the progress of our male counterpart. And so, right, like I'll give you a very direct example. Like I'm told so often that now I just, I almost started believing it at some point. Okay, what do I need to go earn money or study or make anything? My husband's a physician. What do I need to do anything for? That's the
mhm,
most condescending thing to hear as an intellectual woman or as an educated woman, that your husband is his own individual and
mhm.
you are your own individual. You work on things together, such as raising your children or what groceries to buy or what sofa to buy. But when your husband gets an award for Physician of the Year, they don't say, Mr. and Mrs. Hassan, you both get an award for physician. It's not like that, right? So these are individual milestones, individual accomplishments that give you some kind of satisfaction.
Yeah,
And I think women have been left out of it, right? We've been kind of told to, it's okay as long as your husband is successful. And this is not a means to create divide. This is a means that I should be very excited when my spouse is also advancing at the same rate as myself,
yeah. I
right?
actually appreciate, Sarwat, you bringing that, and Nusrat, with your previous point, we are not disengaging men, but at the same time, because we are mothers, we are raising generations. How can I psychologically bring up my kids in a higher level when I'm not put down on that level? when I मुझे अंदर से वो मेरी रूह को वो तस्कीन नहीं मिल रही, I need that. And once you do that, then there's a huge difference. I feel that difference within myself as well. Alhamdulillah, I have a very supportive in-laws and my husband, but I see that significant difference within, especially if you have the ability. And coming back to the Nusrat point, okay, you can make a difference, and mother is always making a difference on that smaller level. घर ठीक करना, बच्चों के लिए ready करना, you're doing that contribution. We've got a lot of comments here, and I know we are coming towards the end of our show, so we cannot take each question. I'm just going to be reading some of them. Mr. Saleh is saying, role of women is very important in the modern world. You are almost 55 to 60% of the world population. How it is possible to keep women isolated, uninvolved in community or in business? So I'm not taking that question because we are running out of time. And at the same time, he's also giving another comment that I don't think this is a myth, will work anymore, that women cannot do mainstream business, politics, community service, etc. They are contributing in national economy. They are not only homemakers, but very good politicians, administrators, legislators, community development, and etc. And thank you. So, he himself has, recognized it. But I'm going to go ahead and take one question here from Amir Hamza. What is the most important thing you feel women should not do or avoid working with communities? So that's a good question that I want to go ahead and take, because anyone.
Amber, can you repeat the question because I missed the last part of it?
Okay, the question is, what is the most important thing you feel women should not do or avoid working with communities?
Should I take it?
Mhm.
I can
Sure.
start. I think one thing we shouldn't do is we shouldn't be tokenized right? So we shouldn't be we shouldn't fall into the tokenizing of having a woman at the table for the sake of having a woman at the table, right? Like we should be held at parallels to men in our society, because even as through our society, through our religion, we are told that we are able to do those other things. And I think that one thing that we should avoid doing is um, putting ourselves in domesticated roles. I don't think that's what and I'm going to take this back to religion, that was intended for us. We are not there to only, our husbands are equally responsible to raise our children, to take care of our home, to be domesticated. So I think when we start doing that in respectful and, and in a way where we're dividing it up in a nice way, I think it just works easy. I think that you have more cohesion in the home. And when you have cohesion in the home, you're going with that same temperament outside in society, right? You're not disgruntled, that you're not being given your rights. Like my husband is the one who's pushing me to further my education, further my career, pushing me towards activism, instead of, telling me, well, and if there's no time to do cleanup, if we can't afford, we get a cleaning lady or he cleans, those things are not left for me to come back and do after my protest. So I think that kind of thing we should stop doing. मैं बाद में आके मैं ही कर लूंगी. नहीं, the narrative has to change कि हम दोनों कर लें. You know what I mean?
Sabina, you go ahead.
The two things that I know that we should definitely do avoid as when women do get the power, I think you should stay away from getting it too much to your head, because sometimes that can happen. That prideness, that ego kind of comes in. You have to learn how to balance that part. One, number two, you should never let go of that reason why you join, right? It's the empathy. You have to have some sort of empathy within you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't love yourself. I think the only reason we're able to do the kind of things that we do is because we love ourselves. I always promote this, that you should love yourself first before doing anything else. Because if you don't have that within you, you won't be able to bring that out and help others. So that's my 2 bits on it.
Very, very good reasoning.
Right. I mean, I actually piggyback on what Sabina said, that I plan goals and objectives whenever I go for any projects. So first, मेरी नियत जरूरी है उस काम के लिए. और अगर मैं उस नियत से करना शुरू करूं और रास्ते में कोई और मुझे रीजन नजर आ जाए, I don't change my niyat. Like let's say what Sabina said, I started to get known by people because I've helped people know me. I'm an educator, people know me. So if it goes to my head, मेरी नियत बदल जाएगी काम करने की. फिर जो है कुछ लोग काम करते हैं to become social media celebrities, right? So that is a niyat. I would say check your niyat and keep humble niyat and don't change it.
Okay.
Work for long-term goals, not for short-term goals.
Yeah, thank you. That you guys, all three of you, have put it in such a nice way. My impact here is that I want to say that बहुत मुश्किल से मिलता है right किसी भी चीज़ का, किसी भी जिन्स को, मर्द हो या औरत हो, और हम लोग को बड़ी मुश्किल से मिला है the right to vote. I know it's a non-political show, but everything is political. हर चीज़ political बन जाती है. We need to remember this, that हम लोगों ने अपना vote of right of vote exercise करना है. I have been to Black Lives Matters protest, and I have seen the younger people which are very energetic and they are protesting, and then I asked them that how many you have registered, and to my surprise they said that nothing is going to change, we don't believe in that, we're not going to vote. So you just completely dismissing your own right. There is no point of complaining if you're not going to be exercising your vote. And that is my message, that even जहाँ पे भी आप हो, पाकिस्तान में, बांग्लादेश में, दुनिया के किसी भी हिस्से में है, एक औरत को उसकी हैसियत और उसका वोटिंग राइट हर गवर्नमेंट में एक्सेप्टेड हो चुका है. So you have to take that right of vote no matter what age you are. I have learned that from my nani. And I am thankful that she has taught me that. वो इतनी बूढ़ी थी लेकिन फिर भी वो अपना वोट खुद देने जाया करती थी। और मेरे मामू उनको छेड़ा करते थे कि अम्मा इस उम्र में आपका वोट कहती नहीं, इट मैटर्स। उन्होंने बेनज़ीर को अपना वोट दिए थे। सो इट वाज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर हर कि मैं एक बेटी हूँ और एक बेटी को हमने लेके आना है।
Yeah,
सो
yeah. So
that was
actually, that's a very strong message for sure. I think we all agree with that. That औरत को अमेरिका जैसे मुल्क में सिर्फ 100 साल पहले वोटिंग राइट्स मिला,
Yeah.
जिसके लिए उन्होंने कई सालों डेकेड्स जदोजहद की है। और अगर आप उनकी मूवमेंट देखें तो जेलों में गई हैं, इनको फोर्स फीड किया गया है, और क्या क्या उस वक्त उनका 1920s में हशर खराब हुआ था, ठंडे पानी से इनको शावर दिए जाते थे। With willpower, they brought the right to vote, and after that, you can see how much within 100 years the society has transitioned. तो 100 साल में ये मुल्क ने कितना तरक्की की है अमेरिका में। So because of the gender equity that is brought due to voting rights.
Yeah, and we are thankful to be, which is true. It is a land of opportunities, and if we're not gonna take those opportunities, then that would be not fair on us and on our next generations. So I know our time is coming very close. I wanna, before we close up, I wanna take last messages from all three of you. So, Sarwat, you go ahead, and I know we time just flew just like that. I really wanted to pick your brain on policies, but we didn't get the time. Inshallah, we'll bring you back again. But give us some your last messages.
So first, thank you for having us. We're extremely humbled to have this opportunity to have these very important conversations. And I love the setting that we can have the conversations in a very lighthearted way, because I think to win people's heart, and I work on this myself every day, is that if you just say to them in the nicest way possible, sometimes I get very charged up about it, but I think people listen more. But I think, like you said and what Nusrat said, these women, this is not something we say कि लोग मरे हैं इसके ऊपर, right? Like literally लोग मरे हैं हमारे हुकूक के लिए, and हम जिन मुल्कों से आए हैं, we've already had women in leadership positions, so it very much it baffles my mind that women of color, not our community, are voting in this country. So when we see people of color voting, it's not us. So let's not get confused. We have a long way to go. We only vote single digit percentage even in our state of heavily densely populated immigrants, especially South Asian immigrants. And we need to exercise, that right to vote, or any right. But I want to leave the show. The reason we came on the show was women involvement in the community. Our children are gonna ask, Mama, what do you think about the opioid crisis? This janaza that we're going through today is of a 21-year-old kid that I call my bhai. He died of overdose. What are you doing about it? They're gonna ask these questions. I don't want to be that mom that says that, well, I just didn't have enough time between me and socializing and even my other work to care enough for these kind of issues that impact your colleagues, your friends, your comrades in the fight of a better world. So we should have these answers for our children. We're in a woke society, so we're all young, we're all educated. We don't have an excuse. And education एक लिमिट तक आपको वो करता है, राइट? लाइक ये चीज़ें इंसानियत पे भी डिपेंड होती हैं, राइट? कि आप इन्वॉल्व हो किसी की तकलीफ के, किसी के हक के लिए लड़ने के लिए. So I think we should do it. We're trending in the right direction. I think we should just speed up the process a little bit.
Thank you. Very, very important point.
I would like to piggyback what Sarwat said, that this opioid crisis can come to any household. It comes, without any warning. It doesn't knock the door and then come in. And we have seen it's a crisis even in our community. So this is something that we need to take it seriously, and we need to have a dialogue on it too. What should we do? Are we failing our community by just thinking that, no, it's not happening in our community? It is. It's does that they are in such hidden circles that we are not able to identify them. Okay, my message is empowerment. We need to empower each other. And we have created a social media forum for that. And that's just one part of it. And everything started with that. And, people started to join hands. And then we have a host committee, 20 people, 7 people, executive committee who brings in any projects, and we do it. We do businesses, we advertise businesses on the weekend. So idea is that please, connect with us, with Amber. Amber, you do the same kind of thing what we do. And then just empower each other. There's no harm in connecting with each other, or letting one person shine in one field because you may shine in another.
Yes, absolutely. You said such a beautiful message here, Nusrat, that especially being women, इसमें कोई competition नहीं है. It's we are helping each other, and that's how the sisterhood happens. That's how it is more beautiful.
And that's very cultural, sisterhood.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Sabina, I know you're reading.
Just along the same lines of Sarwat and Nusrat. Again, because I have a lot of my niece and nephews that I stay with, I can say that, yes, they need to be educated at the right time about drugs, about, the right and the wrong. And it's that that age up to age 7, 8 years old until they're out on their own in school and meeting their friends, that they should know the basics of what is good, what is bad, what is harmful to you, and whatnot. So that's something that you should definitely be teaching the kids on a daily basis, weekly basis. Remind them often as you can. Coming to the community, women especially, like I said, many of us are going to be starting start their own careers. They start their own businesses. Getting out there, outreaching to the community and having the community support is one of the main things that they do look for, which is needed, which I, again, encourage every woman to go ahead and connect, go ahead and post often, connect with us, tell us, we wouldn't know who to advertise unless they come out and, find us. So please do so. We're here to recommend you to others. We're here to support you. We're here to empower you. My definition of woman empowerment is empowering other women. So,
yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody I'm getting a lot of, positive feedback. One of the last thing Mr. Amir Beg has commented, women are jealous from women, which is, might be, who is not, but we are talking about the, sisterhood among women, that woman is the one who support another woman at the same time too. There are certain things in nature. But having said that, I'm really want to thank all of you. I think we might have lost Nusrat because of, but I really am very thankful for having all three of you guys spending this, beautiful time with a cup of tea with me and giving that beautiful message to our audience that, us as mothers, sisters, women in general, I think we are nurturers, we are healers, and again, I'm not giving that as a sexist message that men are not needed. We need you guys. We are doing this together in coherence. This is not a message of not involving our brothers and fathers and men. We need this together. And the only message is that जो हम लोग एक साथ कर सकते हैं वो लोग हम अकेले नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर हमें अकेला करना है तो with the opportunity and love and affection of each other, what we can do together, एक साथ मुट्ठी एक साथ जो इसकी strength जो है वो एक उंगली की नहीं है. So thank you again. Thank you so much. I want to thank Channel 52 and all the viewers for joining me on Mindful Talk with Amber. Thank you and Assalamu alaikum. And I'll see you next week again on the same time with another panelist. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.